Lights, camera, action. Do you wonder how films are produced and what really goes on behind the scenes? Well, stand by. Filmmakers Kevin Mumphrey, Victoria V.A. Jones, and Carson Hype Ferguson, local filmmakers talking about the world of film, right here on F It, We Will Fix It in Post podcast.
Operating at your best, and that's what I strive for. And I tell the cast too.
I wish more people had that.
No, for real. Like it's tough. And I tell the cast, and I'll never forget, their eyes were so big. I was like, y'all, don't come on my set. If your attitude, your stuff ain't together, don't come on this set. If you don't think like you can kill this role, go outside, get yourself together, and then come back in. Because everybody on this call is like here for a reason, you know? So let's give me your all. Like let's kill this shit. Do that. But don't come in here self-doubting and I don't know and because that shit is contagious too, though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you feel you negative and you doubting yourself. It can lead on to another department, and then that just creates chaos. And so I just be like, yo,
you ain't
check
trying
yourself.
to fix a whole mess.
No. No.
Like,
right.
oh, they're going to nick this right in the butt right now.
Right.
That's it. And sometimes it's just crazy because a lot of people, I think it's kind of shocking to see what I've created, and then sometimes I ask a lot, like, did you shoot that? Is that really yours? Did you really direct that? And I'm like, yeah, but I didn't do that by myself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
what y'all think this shit is? Like, I'm not doing this by myself.
Right. That's just like, you know, in Hollywood when they credit the director.
No.
But the director didn't do it by himself.
Check this out. Every time we have film, like the film festivals with IBFF, 48 Hour, and I'm never on camera. Like the IBFF, they wanted the crew, they wanted directors and stuff like that, DPs. You will never catch me on the interview. I always tell them, hey, crew, get the crew and the cast. You never see people talk about the crew. I don't never want to be in the camera. When we do a project, I don't want to be in the camera. I don't want to do interviews. I tell them, like wardrobe, Sheena, go do the interview. Sean, you're the writer, go do the interview. Kevin, you were my second AC. Do the interview. Hey, you were the PA. Do the interview. I don't want to do the interview. I feel like for me, that's more fulfilling watching them just do that. Like, you know,
and it also
talk
makes
about that. Like,
and it also makes other people almost like a lighting person go like, well,
yeah,
they interviewed the lighting person. I'm gonna work with her.
Yeah, like Gav, like it's so fun. People want to talk about light for talk BTS. BTS is tough. I don't give a damn what no one say because people want you 24/7 around the clock. Get this, get that, get that.
And they're like, I mean, what type of hours?
Yeah,
they do like the 16-hour days, do they?
I want to get what I want to get. So, and y'all will never catch me doing any type on. No, I just don't want to do that. I don't.
You want to be more of a name than a face.
You know, like her, the artist. For
Yeah.
a while, nobody knew who the she was. Like, what did she look like? Who's her? Nobody seen her. Everyone knew her voice was dope. And then it wasn't until time went on, like people seen her, you know. And I thought that was just cool for marketing purposes. But like, for me though, yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I'm so private. I love my life. You know what I mean?
So
like,
okay, let me now. And I totally get that. So, but like eventually she has to almost, I don't know if she had to, but eventually she put herself out there.
Yeah.
And I think for music, because I think The Weeknd did something like that too.
Nobody knew who he was.
Because it's weird. I was a fan of him until I found out who he was.
Right. What? Wait
No,
a minute.
I don't know.
Damn.
No.
Wait a minute. So you judging
No,
the man on his looks?
I worded that wrong.
Okay,
No, it's not.
here
It's
we
just for some reason, as soon as he started putting himself out there, started liking his music less.
What do you mean by putting yourself out there?
Like
loose
you would
interest.
see him. Yeah, it just wasn't as interesting.
So you saw him and said that he.
No, it just when he started putting himself out there,
He's like,
the
oh,
music
okay,
he was
this
putting
guy.
out, it was like I ain't feeling this no more.
I'm confused.
That's
though.
weird. But
I don't.
I get
It,
you,
it,
though.
I just think it was the timing of it.
But wait. I'm trying to figure out what do you mean by putting himself out there? Like
No, you would
with
see
his
him out in the
antics?
video. He'll be out red carpets, do concerts.
What time? Like,
You know, I understand you, though.
Kev. Like, is it like Echoes of Silence was mixtape weekend
Yeah.
that you were liking?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Or is it commercial weekend where you're like, nah, not really?
Because I still listen to those that weekend Echoes of Silence.
Those are really good. I still got my iTunes. Really good.
Yeah,
I listened to him like years before he went mainstream. Like Party Next Door too. I listened to both of them before they got discovered.
Now I wouldn't say Party Next Door is necessarily mainstream. I mean he's a name.
He's on the whole OVO thing. Like you can credit you can credit Drake's sound to The Weeknd, Party Next Door, and one other cat. Or not The Weeknd, but
that's just Drake, like the Gorillas.
Some of his sound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dope stuff and dope.
But what I was going to ask, so like you see something like that in music quite often. Mm-hmm. Do you think that it could work in film?
I think it can. I think it can work in film, but like you said, eventually people are going to want to see your face. I just think I'm not going to. I'll get to that point, but not all the time. I think people sometimes can grab another concept of you or view you differently too in your absence. Make people sometimes crave that. You don't have to be that individual.
But do people really crave that now? Because like in the 90s,
But they still do it now.
Yeah.
They still do it now.
Even though now it's kind of hard because people always want to be on the gram and stuff like that and things like that. But you can still do it now for sure. And one thing, another person I love, of course, Beyonce, is because, she does her work, she do it, but then like she's so private what she does, and how she moves. But her, to me, her was a great example. You didn't see her for a while, but you knew her music was like awesome. And so
you know what's good about some of those projects happening like that? Mm-hmm. It's almost like a throwback to the old school, like how artists used to make stuff. Because once you announce it, then there's a pressure behind it.
Yeah.
And then like now you have to meet expectations, especially if people already know you're known for certain things.
Right.
I'm pretty sure like even like a Ron Howard, like big time director, has like issues with this because once his name is associated with it, everybody's comparing, and his work's great, mm-hmm. but comparing his work to his other work.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott, and all the black directors, like Mario Van Peebles, anything he's associated with, all that stuff. Like, and I guess that's how you're really, really doing it is when you're getting compared to yourself.
Yeah.
By other people and not just you.
No, for sure.
Right.
And, I mean, I can access all of you. Now, do you also kind of have a fear of like your work being kind of socially seen so great that you're like every other project you do, you're kind of in competition with the last two projects that people known you for?
Not for me, because I'm in competition anyways with myself. Mm-hmm. So I'm always try to outdo the last project. I don't care if it was the best. I don't care if it was the worst.
Yeah.
I'm always try to outdo the project.
Oh yeah.
Always.
And like from marketing, I would still want like the same marketing principles for each one, right? To make it really, to get it out there. But I'm with her. I'm just like, each project every day is just yourself. And my thing is, I just want my story to be strong. That's it. I want a good, strong story.
Right.
Boom. And now I put pressure.
Lost.
Yes, I put pressure on the departments for sure, because it's like, this is a strong story. So what do I need, or what we're gonna do to get the picture to match this?
Yeah.
Like y'all, this is say what y'all do. Like, what do you need? Because it has to be good. It has to be great. Yeah, it does. I tell them like, hey, this has to be good. Why? And like, why does this have to be good? Because this story. You just never know who you can touch. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just don't know.
Yeah.
So whether it's comedy, whatever genre. Yeah.
So expand on that a bit. For as like, let's say you written this strong story, mm-hmm. and, you write it, you have your vision of it, mm-hmm. and let's say you have some, like your producer, you get a director. They may have another vision of it, mm-hmm. and give it to the actors, and they may have a separate vision of it. And sometimes it just destroys the story. So how do you kind of communicate? Yes.
So that's the thing. It goes back to like roles and everyone know what they're doing. And sometimes when you talk about roles, people get offended or say, oh, you're all about roles. You're all about titles. And I've been told that, like, oh, you're about roles. You're about titles. It's like, no. Like, I'm all about structure. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're never going to see a sound person talking to the talent. That's out of line.
Yeah.
You would go somewhere. Somebody would cut you off for that. You never, even the producer. I did that once. I was a producer for my own set, a producer. And I ended up talking to talent. The director cut me off. She's like, don't do that again. I didn't even get mad. I had to respect it. Because, like, yo, that's not my lane. That ain't, it just beats it's no respect in that. But, like.
And a lot of people don't know that.
No, so what I love about my writer, Sean Coggin, she's, like, dope. She wrote one feature in one day. That's how dope she is. Like, she loves writing. Loves writing. Mercy. So, like, if I was to write something, like, for her to I tell her my concept, she writes it, and then I direct it, right? Or other times where she writes it, and I'm just going to direct it. But it's all about being vulnerable to a certain extent. Like, okay, how much am I willing or how much time do I have? But, like, as a writer, you write something and you shoot it, depending on what the contract looks like, the director's always going to tweak it a little bit, period. You just got to be open to that. Like, with the actors, you just have to prepare them. Give them the resources they need to really perfect that role, And I think you can avoid them trying to take over or feel like they have to give themselves direction, And then with that, too, though, I'm always open to the actors and actresses talking to me about how they feel about this role, or could they do it this way or think of it that way. That's fine, because for me, directing is about the relationship. It's just simply that. These actors and actresses are not robots. I can't say, oh, cry. I can't do this or do that. Yeah. So it's funny because for my next upcoming projects, I'm making my actors and actresses do a love language test, because and some people like, love language, why? Because you got to learn how everyone communicates differently. And so for me to get to a point where my actors are vulnerable to really meet who they're playing halfway so they can find that connection, they're going to have to open up some kind of way. So I have to figure out, okay, how can I do this? And the best way to do it is finding out their love language and how they communicate, how they open up. But as a director, you can't abuse that either. You can't manipulate that. And even if some actors or actresses, if they open up to you, they be like, went through that, don't use whatever triggered them that's going to harm them on a set to get them to play that role. I feel like that's a manipulation, and that's total abuse. You don't do that. But find out the love language, get them to a point where they play the character in the role, and then also find a healthy way to where they're not taking that character home with them. So this is all a balance, but those are like little fun things that I tend to put in to do.
Now, the love language, I think that's
a great book, by the way.
Oh yeah, it is.
So what made you think to do that?
The love language?
Yeah.
So I was going through my emails and I see like different ads pop up, and I was like, And my degree was in communications and psychology. And so I know one time I was on set, and my first film, we had this guy. We spent hours on him. I wasn't the director. But as a producer, you got to think, man, we got time, money. We got to turn this stuff in. Like, hey, let's go. Get these shots and let's go. I pulled the director aside, like, hey, let's do this. We're on a time crunch. But my director spent so much time, 3 hours on a guy who just could not deliver, And it was, I don't know if the director was having a hard time to communicate what they needed or whatever the case was, but it was a hard time. It was some loss of communication, and I always just think about that moment because money was on the line, for one.
Yeah.
And then two, I think everyone can act. I think anyone can play a role. It's just finding out who that person really is, that relationship. But that's what made me do that. Because, as a director, you don't want to spend so much time. Maybe you could do that at table read or rehearsals, but you should never do it on set.
Once you're on set, yeah.
Never. And so that made me like, okay, I need to figure out how I can communicate to them without frustrating them.
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah.
And this question is actually for kind of all of you. Then working in film, and all of us except Karsten are pretty much introverts. So does the ideal of being famous for doing this, is that something that kind of like scares you or makes you a bit nervous about?
No, because I'm private, but I'm not worried about changing. That's for damn sure. Because if you got a good circle that's gonna hold you accountable, keep you grounded, you shouldn't have to worry about that.
Right.
But I think it's a character thing too, just who you are. But hell no, because just as quickly as you can become famous or get to that level, you can
find a tweet from 2012.
Man, what?
It'll all go away.
Quick.
That's the perspective. That's a good perspective to have. I mean, because and no offense, but a lot of people get drawn to the thing for the glitz and the glamour or whatever, and they don't necessarily know who they are before they start.
And
so then all the trappings get to you, and then hey, before you know it, look what's happening.
But that's also a
and
difference
do y'all kind of like see people that feel like they want to do this just to be famous?
I mean, there are some people out there who want
chasers.
that. Yeah.
Clout.
And I was just finna speak on that. You got them. You know what I'm saying? You got people out there who are studying, trying to get famous. They study it. They try to figure it out. They try to see what do I need to do. That's why you see all these internet people on here doing all this.
But then that's why you also see a lot of celebrities who are depressed, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like the problem ain't getting there. People want to get to a certain level. It's staying there. Can you stay there? That's the grind.
Right.
And like, I want my peace. I'm happy where I'm at. Of course, more profitable. People want to make money what they do. But shit, I'd rather have my peace and be famous. Y'all have that.
See,
right. And also, And also, when you believe in yourself, you're gonna know that it's gonna be a certain point that you're gonna get to that spot. That's just it.
Yeah.
I believe in myself so much that I know that there's a certain point where I'm gonna get to a spot where people gonna know who the I am.
Yeah. It's
just gonna happen. So it comes with it. It comes with it when you keep working for it. So when you keep working for it and you get there and you're there, you just have to keep something within yourself, within your circle. It's always going to take you back to where you were beforehand. And you're going to realize that this shit ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here, but all this stuff ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? You have to remind yourself of that.
Yeah.
So for me, like, acting is more likely if it would happen with me. But I always think, like, I always want to be the actor that somebody goes, oh, he's in it too? Oh, yeah, this is going to be good. Yeah. I want to be the person.
Yeah.
Right. What's his name? I want to be that guy.
Who doesn't want to, like, kill what they do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, really be like, for me, it's more so of a presence thing. Like, with the actors and actresses and another thing, it's like, make your presence known. Like, there's a way. And your presence is not the one who's the loudest or always doing or is not necessarily the quietest person, but it's about your demeanor. It's about how you carry yourself. It's that's the presence that you want. So when someone sees you, like, oh man, I gotta have that. It may not. That person probably can't even act. But when you see that, when you're around her presence or his presence, and they just put him on the screen, it's like, damn, I'm glued.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a presence thing to me. It's more so. Everything else can be taught.
So, and this is really for Victoria and yourself. When you see like women who are directors or women getting positions of power in film, like Ava DuVernay, Sandra Rhimes, and it's this other young lady, Amber Raspberry, who she's now like the senior she's a senior creative film executive for Amazon Studios.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So when you see stuff like that, like does it kind of motivate you all? Or?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does because women rule the world. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But it does motivate. It motivates because it's like, oh damn, if they can do it, then I can do it.
Yep. If my sister can do it,
exactly,
I can do it.
And it's another thing in the industry is you have those certain people who just want to be it and not share what they've learned, their success, That's not how you're supposed to do it, because you're not gonna get that high status. You know what I'm saying? You have to have people behind you. You cannot do all this stuff by yourself.
And I agree. She is so right. You can't. You can't.
Not to mention, I listened to like that Jay-Z quote, whatever. He's like, "You only gonna be in that White House space for a little bit of time. You can have a career, but you're not gonna be at the apex of it the whole time. And there's ebbs and flows. And if you close the door on people, and you're like so closed off that you're gonna block yourself in the future, because especially if you have any kind of stumbles or little foibles or anything like that,
right?
You're gonna fall, and people are gonna want to see you fall.
Yeah, no, like you gotta help somebody out. You have to, like, it's imperative. Like, sometimes people want to see, how hard are you gonna figure it out to get there? And I had some people, I ask questions and they just don't respond back or help out because it's like that intimidation, like, oh, I can't, or because she gonna be, or she gonna be better. But I'm the type of person that's like, no. First off, we both are gonna grind, and right. God, we all custom made. Like, so what is for you is for you, and what's for me is for me.
Exactly.
So like, if she came to me like, hey, I got this film project I'm trying to do. Let's do this. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's partner. What you want to do? Well, I want to direct. All right, cool. I'll produce it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, let me find the people that can help get your quality, or not even quality, but your story in their departments and get it really done very well. Or even if she's like, hey, or if I came to her like, hey, I need help on this and that. Can you help me? You can't go nowhere by yourself. You just cannot. You can't do it. So.
And anybody who's famous has a team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And partnerships.
And partnerships.
Man, you can't do it by yourself.
That is a great mentality, because your experience of being a team and that being like kind of the focus.
Right.
You're more in collaborative and you care about other people.
Oh yeah.
Instead of like, some people be just like all about self. And that like being all about self will actually hurt the projects too.
Exactly.
But then I pray too though. I pray.
Yeah. Faith is something else.
Because like, you want to make sure you're in the right partnership. Somebody that's not going to slander your name and your brand. You just want to make sure it's the right one now.
Or try to get over on you or anything like that.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm not worried about arguing. Now, we do a partnership and we argue, have our I don't give a shit about that. As long as this project gets done, it is what it is. Because I had so many times where I argue with my teammates. But you know what? At the end of the day, we both signed a contract. We both here on the same team. Get our together, move on, and let's focus on getting this project done, Especially if the story is good. So you're always going to have the DP and director may not see eye to eye. Okay? That you're supposed to cry, break up. No, y'all sign this contract, keep this contract, keep it moving, and y'all make this work.
Right.
Anybody got time for that?
Right.
And then after that, if y'all don't want to work together, y'all ain't got to work together no more. But,
y'all can't unsign this contract.
Right.
Right.
Y'all signed it.
So y'all can figure this shit out.
Right.
But now, with me, it's kind of like, personally, I want to be the best of the best. Yeah. So I'm going to work with any and everybody. And with any and everybody, well, not any and everybody, but you know what I mean. But within that person,
we've done any and everybody.
Listen, hey, we got stories for days.
We've had meetings and going, this is any and everybody.
Listen, for days and days on how some projects with it and how stuff went down. But anyways, like I was saying, like I'm gonna learn something different from somebody else.
Yeah,
I don't know everything. So I'm a learn something new from you. Mm-hmm. You might not know everything. You're gonna learn something new from me. So that's how we grow as we get into our craft. Like I said, I'm trying to be the best of the best within the craft that I'm in.
And when someone says that, like in the partnership, no one should ever feel any type of way, because if you're gonna operate at your best, you're gonna operate at your best. We all, operate at a level of excellence, I feel. So again, there's always this fear of there's not enough. There is enough for everyone. And
most definitely.
And that's like an illusion. And I just
that irks my nerves too, man.
Yeah.
Because for real. Because I'm thinking about like partnerships, real like Nashville, Tennessee. See, we own this something, y'all. Nashville is so many different creators. so many different people and so much art. And sometimes I wish that if we could come together, we could make something so special, you know. And I think it still can happen. And I've been asked, somebody asked me, a white guy, he was like, do you do films for the culture? And he didn't know how to say it, for the culture, or do you do films for everyone? I said, is that what your way of saying? Do I do only black films? And he was like, yes.
Oh, man.
And he's so sweet. And I was like, you know, I in my films, it's so diverse. I have somebody from Middle Eastern, white, black. But when I looked at it yesterday, and I thought about this yesterday, I was like, damn, it kind of seemed like I only do movies that are about black people. And then I looked at him and I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to do movies about black people, you know? Because, one, I'm black, but two, we need more stories of that. And I've seen a lot of white people, and that doesn't make them racist or nothing, but they'll be the directors, they'll be the producers, and we'll be only the talent. We'll, like, the puppets, and we'll be the talent, whatever, talking about history or slavery or whatever, some sad, very dramatic. But it's never black people that are the crew, and that bothers me because you have to learn. I want people to learn and to see it, and you need more people in the business aspects. But I say all this to say, because I was just thinking about it, but all my films are people of color, Latinos, Middle Eastern, black, and I will do stuff film about white people with white people, yeah. But I want to do something different. You always see white people and stuff, so. And
yeah, you see like white directors telling black films.
Oh, it's time for us to tell some of their stories. That's a whole different type of thing right there.
I wasn't going that route, but since we're here.
I didn't even think about that.
You know what I'm saying? Listen. I've been thinking about this. Have an all-black crew with all-black crew telling white stories. They would. Do you hear me? That's a whole different.
Would you like to direct a movie about?
Oh, of course.
With the Christopher Columbus coming?
Oh yeah. I would love to do that.
That would be different, though.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Put me on that list.
That would be different.
Oh, I can't wait for y'all to see this.
Socrates said, like, in ancient times, those that tell stories rule society. When you have all these certain things that are perpetuated a certain way, and you're not getting certain representation, not getting this, you look at who's telling the stories. And if it's too one-sided, those are the people that are, they're dictating, how society is driven.
Right.
And like for me, like, I don't care, white, black, Puerto Rican, Haitian, any of that stuff. Saying when you get too much of one thing, it gets lopsided. So, like, you can't have just, like, one perspective looking from the outside in, pointing and saying, oh, this and that. We need other perspectives.
Yeah.
We need other people doing stuff.
Right.
And like, I like the Melvin Van Peebles, the way he did it. He brought in white people, and then he brought in other people, whatever, like other ethnic people, whatever, and brought them in to shadow these other people. Because my story is weird, like how I got into it. Like, I'm here because of video game. And I'm like, yo, think of how many people will be so much further along than me, and me helping, I guess, spark the next storyteller, or, like giving somebody the idea or access to be able to tell stories for that generation or whatever.
No, that's real.
The mentorship thing. Because I know you're into that a whole lot, Jazz. So.
Oh, yeah. I love it. And I take any, again, black, blue, orange, white, whatever you look like. But I know, because it is Tennessee. Like, if I was in Atlanta, of course, I'll see a lot of black people doing it.
Yeah.
But we're in Tennessee, you don't see that. And I've learned, too, and it's growing, too. And we're evolving, and people are changing. I definitely don't mind it, because on my crew, even the crew is very diverse. I have white people, black people that's in my crew. But I've always been told, like, if you just see white people on a crew, right? If you just sometimes even see black people, it's like, how much more perspective? Like, if it's diverse, like, think of it like a political campaign. If a guy's running for office, or a woman's running for office, and her whole staff is white, or her whole staff is black, only black men, or white. It's just good to have a good diverse, because again, perspective is key though.
Right.
I just don't believe you could tell a good story without having a diverse crew. I just don't.
Now, and I think this could be for both of you all as well. As far as like you see, like directing, like as far as like within details, what would you think is the difference of like white men directing a film and when women are directing the film? Is it almost like when you're different as far as details and how I'm wanting the word is perspective on a certain story?
I think women, we're more detail oriented. Right. And a lot of women in the film industry are producers, and then you have the men that are directors that you see sometimes, but it's changing. But as a producer and being detail oriented as a woman, because we have this nature, motherly nature about us, I think it comes natural. Sometimes we're more detailed, like making sure our kids are here, if their child is sick and stuff like that. And I think naturally we are just detailed like that. Men, I know some men that are very detailed, and most men are very technical savvy more so. But I've seen a lot of women that are really detailed. Sometimes you can tell too within the direction, but I think it just comes down to who really cares more about their shit than the other.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. That's the truth.
Really, when it goes down to that.
You know what I'm saying?
Women can be dope. Women can be dope, but the woman can be trash. And she not trash, but like sloppy.
Yeah.
The guy can be sloppy. And like not being detail oriented. Like, I don't know if
or just not care.
Yeah, like little stuff. Like
the kind of expound that. What would be considered a sloppy director?
Okay, I can say I'm a sloppy director on this one. Okay, so so may beg differ, but Soldier, the most recent film I've done, it's on Amazon. Check it out, y'all. So I looked at, I was watching. I was like, oh shit. It's in a hospital, and she picks up a napkin. The nurse picks up a napkin and rubs it towards his head. But when I zoomed in, look close, I was like, what the f***? Like, that's, the desk is dusty. It had so much dust. So why the f*** you put a dusty towel on the dude's forehead, and it looked dirty? Nobody caught that. You know what I'm saying? Like, little shit like that. I'm just like, yo. And then, like, the lighting in the hospital room, I'm looking at the top where the fluorescent lighting is at, and on the cross of it, I'm just not looking at it. It's like little dots and stuff on it. I'm just like, see, that's art department. You know what I'm saying? This on that shouldn't look like that. You can only do so much in post. You know, like little like that. And I didn't even think about it. And then I'm mad at myself because I'm like, did I do playback? Like, like it's just little things like that. Because you think about it, it's like, oh, if this nurse really cares about this individual, about her job, why doesn't she make sure that room is clean or sanitized or some shit,
Right.
So, little stuff like that.
Even as you're directing, you're still learning.
Yeah. And Locked Up, I didn't miss too much detail. I wasn't the director. I was the producing DP. But even as a DP, your eyes got to be glued to what you're looking at. The background detail is important.
Right.
So, I was like, shit. Like, just little stuff. So I had to pinpoint myself out.
So my question to you is, what is your ultimate goal?
Oh my goodness. My ultimate goal. Somebody asked me, do you like DP or direct more? I love directing. I definitely want to get into Steadicam. I want to be a Steadicam operator for sure. But the ultimate goal is I really want to expand. I want to open up a studio here in Nashville. And then just continue to create art and opportunities for other artists who may not have the resources but have just the drive and the talent and just need a support system. And for me, I've been blessed and to bless someone else out in that really wants to get it, whether they want to do theater or what they just want to do just to have fun.
Yeah.
Because art is so therapeutic.
Yeah.
So therapeutic. So that's all I want to do.
Do you see yourself eventually doing, say, a teaching role?
I may see myself having like an acting studio for Black actresses and actors. And it'll be for everyone, but mainly them.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with saying that for Black There's nothing wrong with saying for black, you know,
black people,
because some people who aren't black, well, you know, will be like, why is it only for black people? I mean, well, because they need it the most.
You know, we do. It's the opportunity. It's not just that. It's really just that, the opportunity. And sometimes that is true. Like, if people be like, oh, say black. Well, sometimes it's been shown to say, oh, if you want something all black, that means you don't understand diversity. Or you're not going to get anywhere because you're not diverse. And that's not true.
Right.
So that's something I'm really entertaining at acting school. We'll see how that goes. I don't know.
Hey, you've done so far in 1 year.
Trying.
You've done a lot in 1 year.
Trying.
So, I mean, sky's not even your limit.
I figured this
Well, I mean,
it's just a partnership.
It's part of that grind, right?
Yep.
It's part of that grind, part of that competition. It's wanting to be so good, and and then wanting to go fast, right?
Yeah.
Like I get that sometimes, and part of me suffers sometimes because I want to run before I crawl.
Right. Now, and that happens too sometimes, for sure. And I'm like, now I'm at a point, it's kind of like, okay. So I pray, I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's the next move? What's the next move? But honestly, God, I just feel like more partnerships, whether that's for marketing purposes, but opportunity for everyone, and just creating some dope content.
So
the money will come, the people will come.
So
that's what I'm talking about.
You mentioned partnerships. So how do you, like you said, you're an introvert. So how do you network? Or finding partners?
The most I do is film stuff. Whenever time somebody see me, that's what I do. Like, go out, film, like network, or I really use social media sometimes. And when I'm writing or thinking about a goal or some kind of project, I'll reach out. But about partnerships, I may see someone that's a DP or someone that's maybe not a DP, but maybe a producer or someone. Or I've seen their work and be like, hey, I reach out and I throw an idea out, and then go from there. But my process is pretty much like, okay, this is the project I have, and I see you in this role. Can you do that? Whether it's crew, cast, and they're like, okay, cool. And then I ask them like, hey, what do you want to do? And then we talk about that in the contract. Like, okay, this not for real. This what you said you was gonna want to do. All right, we cool. We gonna do that. This the role. Okay, give me what you need to be successful. What do you need from me that's gonna help you? Well, I need this equipment. I need that. I need that. Okay, let's talk about budget. Well, if we can't get that, what can we do creatively to close to get to that? Then I'll reach out to people that I know. But I'm always looking for good stories. Always looking for great stories and just to meet new people.
Now, how often do you write now?
So I started back writing today. I have a couple scripts I haven't finished, but I've been spoiled because Sean, she writes everything. I just give her my concepts or my brief synopsis and or treatment. I'm like, here you go. She get it back to me. Like we're doing a web series, She give it back to me. I'm like, damn. Were you in my mind? And so it's that.
That sounds like a perfect partnership right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how we have is a partnership within her company and then my company. And then I put her on my website, And sometimes it's that fear of if you have someone on your website or someone is under your brand or whatever, it's that fear of, oh, it's going to take away from what I do. No. It's for her, I tell her, Shoebay is a hub. It's just when they click on it, go to your website. And all the reason why it's like that is because when she writes, it is under my company. But at the same time, she has her own too. So it's that same love for her. So it's just a great partnership. We have fun and we don't think too much of it. As long as the contract's right and I make sure she's happy what she does, I'm cool.
Now, you mentioned a few times her contracts. Now, have you written these contracts out or have you?
Yeah, so it's both. I have my own contract. She'll have her own contract, whoever. And then, I sign hers. She signed ours. Will be the same thing and however how her format is. And then we go from there. I think that people should have their own. I have my own. You should have your own. And as long as they're saying the same things and Maybe word it a little differently, but
because especially like most people don't really have contracts. They just well, you said you was gonna do this, and
but
have a little handshake agreements.
Right. I think the contract is more so for me. It's not a thing you throw in somebody's face. It's more so of accountability type thing. Like, hey, you gonna do this? You say you gonna do this? You signed it. You better do it. If you don't want to do it, okay, you got 14 days to opt out. Okay, cool. And it ain't no hard feeling. Just if they don't want to do it anymore for some reason, okay, cool. Then it's that person's option if they want to try to work with them again or not. But
well, it's just like selling a talent release or a location release.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm all about that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Just having a clear understanding.
Right, that's all it is.
Especially when it gets to different levels, like especially if you're a writer or director. You know, when it gets to say if it's on Amazon, you know, when money's involved, what's your percentage cut on this, and when are we gonna withdraw on this, and what's the projected numbers we're trying to get on this so everyone can get their cut. I think it's that type of conversation because, you know, money can ruin relationships.
Yes.
So you don't want that to happen, so you got to stay tight.
Right. Or you can have
an accountant
fall into that role of a talent who does the project and then they change their mind.
Yeah.
But you're already done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's why it's good. Like, it's good to It's good to have good partnerships, but people shouldn't just want to work with any and everybody, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I want to, we've been here for a while. So end it off with one last thing. If somebody wanting to get into film, how would you advise them to do so?
Ooh, if you wanted to get into film, what I would say is, one, just be yourself. Two, you're going to get a lot of advice from other people and things like that. But
amen.
Just enjoy your journey.
Amen.
You know, chew the meat, spit out the bones. Just take what you can to make it better. It's okay to be sensitive, but not to a certain degree. Because, you know, not everyone's going to like your shit, you know. And you got to be able to take constructive criticism. But be wise, because you have some wolves, man. The entertainment, sports industry is It's a shark-eating industry. But just stay true and believe it. Like, some people want to jump in and be like, I don't know if this is for me. And I would say a quick little story. Like, I got out of a bad relationship. My finances were bad, really bad, when I got out of it because of choices that I made within that bad relationship, right? So my first film that I did, I didn't have no money to shoot. Like, really, nobody in the crew. And to this day, I'm now saying it. Like, I have no money to get that film done. And we got disqualified because we didn't make the time restriction. I was pissed because the director and DP, they knew. You know, they were already been shooting and stuff like that. As a producer, that was my first thing producing, you know. So then we go and shoot a second film. And I'm slowly starting to get, you know, my finances back in order where I was. Still didn't have no money, right? And so I'm like, man, how am I going to get this money? How am I going to figure it out? So I had like $80 to work with. Man, everybody was fed them 3 days. Food was, you know. And then the next thing I know, I got people sending money. Just sending me money. It's like, hey, what you doing? I was like, hey, I'm doing this film festival. They was like, oh, what you need? I was like, well, if you want to get, and they gave it to me. And then finally got my camera messed up. My Nikon, my first real true camera. Yeah. I was booked for a shoot. I didn't have a camera. Then this guy sent me grinding hard, work hard. End up he let me borrow his Blackmagic camera. So I'm like, cool. I still trying to save up money by my own because, you know, ain't nothing like your own.
Right.
Yeah.
Then on my birthday, this dude tells me, happy birthday, that's your camera. You know? So I've had confirmation throughout this whole process, and I always ask God, is this something I'm supposed to do? Like, damn. And I feel that with a dollar in a dream, but, like, I tell this person who want to do this film, if it's for you, God will make it very clear, very, very clear to keep going. If it's not for you, that's even better because he's going to lead you to the closest thing next to whatever you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
So you got to keep doing that. Though you may feel like it's not for you, you got to keep doing it in that space. And don't take nothing for granted. Small opportunity, don't take it for granted. Don't worry about quality. Just shoot something.
Right.
You use one location and just shoot. Nobody can take away the fact that you did a film. That's your.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
your
that sounds like
process.
somebody else I know. Somebody else said that same thing, exact thing.
Like,
somebody. I don't know who it is.
You.
your
It's
project.
literally
You know
like
what I'm
talking to
saying?
you all over again.
You know what I'm saying?
See, you preaching over it. See,
You know what I'm saying?
Confirmation.
We've told so many people, look, we got this idea.
Just
Send me
shoot
the
it.
look, we've got a crew. Give me the idea. We actually just write it because I don't want to write nothing. Just write it.
Just shoot
If
it.
you write it, we'll do the rest.
Listen. Before we get off this episode, I will say this: I have shot one feature film,
Dope.
4 short films with the crew that I have. And when I say crew, it's only me and 2 or 3 other people.
Hey, if they all bought in, that's something.
So I've always said, if I can do it with 2 or 3 people, you can do it. There's no point of you not being able to do it. You know what I'm saying?
It's no excuse, like none.
Jasmine,
That's it.
thank you for coming.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been a pleasure. This is we will fix it in post, and that is a wrap.